Welcome to SK's e-Shikshalaya, and we will continue with the same topic inside our earth part 2 for class 7. We will discuss rocks and minerals, formation of rocks, types of rocks. We have three: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic. And last we'll discuss about the rock cycle. All study and no play makes a Jack dull boy. So today I'll start by playing games with you. So let's see the first one. We have these two players and the block of stone. One player is knocking down the block of stone and he will restore it. You know what is the name of the game? It is seven stones. Pit 2 and Pit 2 are pieces of rocks or stones. Now let's see the second one. In this, the player is having five pieces of rock and he is throwing up into the air and trying to catch it. You know what is the name of the game? It is Gitte or five stones. The next one is really very interesting. It's Stapu or hopscotch. It is when a player is using pieces of rocks or stones and throwing it into the block of any number and then hops on one foot to pick it up. So, you all must have played these games, and you all know that these games that we are talking about, we are using pieces of rocks and stones. But remember, rocks and stones are also used for making buildings, for houses, and for roads, and some for even for items of daily use. So hence we can say that the rocks or the stones, they are not only used in games, but they are also used for making buildings, houses, roads and items of daily use. So you must all have understood that why I am talking about rocks and minerals, because this is what we are going to talk about today. So as we have seen in the earlier lesson, that Earth's crust is made up of different kinds of rocks, and rocks can be of varied colors, sizes and textures. Then what is a rock? Rock, any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the Earth's crust is a rock. So what is a rock? Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the Earth's crust is a rock. Then what's mineral? Minerals occur in nature and they have certain physical properties and definite chemical composition. Minerals are very useful for us. So let's see the uses of minerals. Minerals like coal and petroleum, they are used as fuel. Minerals like iron, aluminium, uranium, they are used in industry. And there are some minerals which are used in fertilizers and in medicines. So now let's see the types of rocks. So we have three types of rocks: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. And igneous rocks can be further classified into two: intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. So there are three types of rocks: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. And we can further classify igneous rocks into intrusive rocks and extrusive rocks. Now let's see how rocks are formed. When hot lava cools and then it solidifies to form rocks. So how rocks are formed? When hot lava cools and then it solidifies to form rocks. But then what is lava? Now lava is a hot red molten magma that is pushed up from the core of the earth to the surface through the crater of mountain, and then this lava solidifies to form rocks. So now let's see red ball. Imagine it's a lava, and let's see how this lava is coming out. So molten lava will gradually move up through the fault lines and will come out from the crater. So as we have seen in the last slide, that the rocks which are formed when the molten magma cools down and solidifies to form rocks, so the rocks which are formed in such a way are called as the igneous rocks. And igneous rocks are the first type of rock which are formed from the molten magma. And igneous rocks are called as primary or parent rock because the other two types of rocks are formed from them. But sometimes the molten magma, this is the molten magma, it flows out of the earth's crust and solidifies to form rocks on the surface of the earth. So the rocks which are formed on the surface of the earth, they are called as the extrusive igneous rocks. And extrusive igneous rocks, they have fine grained structure because they cool down fast. So the example of extrusive igneous rock is basalt, and Deccan Plateau is made up of basalt. One information, igneous is derived from a Latin word ignis, which means fire. Now let's talk about the intrusive igneous rocks. So the rocks which are formed when the magma cools deep inside the earth's crust, they are called as the intrusive igneous rocks. And they have large grains as they cool down slowly inside the earth. The example of intrusive igneous rock is granite, and granite is used for many or for large number of things. So mortar and pestle is made up of granite, which is used for pounding spices or for making chutney or herbal medicine. This is mortar and pestle, which is made up of granite. Now let's move on to the sedimentary rocks. Now the rocks, they are broken down into small pieces due to weathering and form small fragments which are called as sediments. So rocks are broken down into pieces and they form these small fragments which are called as sediments. Some agents like wind and water, they carry these sediments and they deposit them. Then these deposited fragments of rocks or sediments, they get compressed and become hard. Then they form layers of rocks. Rocks so formed are called as the sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks also have fossils of plants, fossils of animals, and microorganisms. So, what is a fossil? The remains of dead plants and animals trapped in the layers of rock, and they remain there and they become the part of rock. Example of sedimentary rocks are limestone and sandstone which is made up of grains of sand. Example of sandstone is red fort, as red fort is made up of red sandstone. Metamorphic rock. Metamorphic word is from the Greek word metamorph, meaning to change the form. And how these rocks are formed? Metamorphic rocks are formed when extreme heat and pressure is applied to either sedimentary or igneous rocks. So let's look at the examples. When clay is subjected to heat and pressure, it transforms into slate. And when limestone is subjected to heat and pressure, it transforms into marble. And the example of marble is Taj Mahal, because Taj Mahal is made up of white marble. But remember one thing, that clay and limestone, they both are the examples of sedimentary rocks. But heat and pressure are not sufficient enough to melt them, and they get transformed into compact rocks. Rock cycle. Cycle means a continuous process. Rock, rocks on the earth continue to change from one rock form to another over the period of time. This takes place in a cyclic manner. This transformation from one type of rock to another is called as the rock cycle. So let's see how this rock cycle takes place. Now, molten magma on cooling solidifies and it forms igneous rock. Then igneous rocks, they are broken into small fragments and are transported through wind and water and get deposited. They form sedimentary rocks. In the presence of heat and pressure, the igneous and sedimentary rocks, they transform into metamorphic rocks. And then these metamorphic rocks inside the earth is subjected to great heat and pressure. Rocks melt down to form magma, and the molten magma, whether inside the earth or outside the earth, it cools down and hardens to form igneous rock again. So this process goes on. So the rock cycle is the process of transformation of one type of rock to another type under some conditions in a cyclic manner. This is all for today. So let's see some important terms. Rocks. Any natural mass of mineral matter that makes up the earth's crust is a rock. Extrusive igneous rocks are formed when the magma reaches the earth's surface. Intrusive igneous rocks are formed when magma cools down deep inside the earth's surface. Rock cycle is a process in which there is a change of one type of rock to another in a cyclic manner but under certain conditions. So today we have discussed about the types of rock: igneous, sedimentary, metamorphic. We have discussed about what is rock, what is mineral, and formation of different types of rocks and the rock cycle. This is for your reference. So with this I complete with my chapter, and there are two videos which are being uploaded. Thank you so much for watching the video.